I'm Wanda Girty, and I grew up at Falls area, about 18 miles south of Park Hill, way back in the sticks. My dad's name was William Washington, and my mother's name was Jenny Sequici. We made playhouses. Even my brother did that, helped us with that. we ran around in the woods, close to the house, not way out there, and where there was water in the summertime. That was our bathtub. We'd go out. We'd just get sticks and boards and collect boards and make maybe what you'd call tables, and pick up some old cans, different places, and play like they were the kinds of stuff that our parents, my mama had in the house. And mud, would make mud pies and stuff like that. I did have Christmas store-bought dolls, but we made our dolls. We just made big, like babies, big heads, and just dress them up, and those were our babies. We'd take some clothes, I guess, and make them dolls inside, and we'd take them out there to play with. But before they came back, we knew Mama didn't like us doing that, so we'd go back and undo those dolls and put them back. My brother didn't play with dolls. What he played with is tires, car tires, and he was our driver when we went anywhere. He would push that, and he'd ask us to just run along beside her. In springtime, I'll start with springtime, we would go out and gather greens, things that we could eat. People ate back then. We went out, Mama would take us out in the woods and gather stuff. And we lived that way through the springtime. And in the fall, we'd go out and gather hickory nuts, because they made knutsy and stuff with that stuff that we gathered. Poke salad, wild onions, that grows pretty far into spring. So we lived pretty good that way. My dad worked to get the flour and cornmeal. But I remember the other families, they used to take the corn that they grew to the place where they ground them, making that was the best cornbread. I would say it was about 3 or 4 miles. There was a creek that ran through that, and we would go there swim. But we had a well. I guess it was what they call that. It didn't go dry. The well didn't dry. It wasn't a well. It was just a hole, water, and it was always running. So we had that to go and clean up and jump in the water and have fun sometimes when Mama would let us. That heat up the water, gallons and gallons of water, and they had to get water down the hill, and they'd bring water and heat it up. And the younger ones, that's all I remember. I don't know how the older sisters did theirs, but us younger ones, we just used the same water to take baths in. It really was hard in the wintertime, but we didn't think so. When you're young, everything's fun. You don't feel like you're starving to death. You don't feel like I don't have no shoes, pretty shoes to wear until you get to school. That's when you see the comparison of what other kids are wearing and how they treat you.
Did you speak Cherokee in your home?
That's all we spoke. I was 6 years old when I started school, and it was that. I don't know if you've been to Sellers Mission. I still remember being scared. I remember walking up the stairs. I remember that so clear. I took one step up, and stop and look around. And one step, yeah, uh-huh, and just went in and sat on the edge of the desks that they had. And I couldn't ask my sister what they were saying. We just couldn't talk. They probably whispered, to one another. But when we leave school, we'd just write it off and start talking, tell one another what went on at school, what they learned, what was hard, and all that. Little Cherokee, full-blood Cherokee children would just stand aside and watch people, what they're doing. That's how I was. So they'd pick on me, wondering what I was. They thought I was standoffish, or I just like to watch people. We walked to school, run to school, what it is, but it was uphill. So, we ran to school. It was about a couple of miles, I would say, uphill. First pair of shoes. We always had shoes in the wintertime when we was going to school. I don't know how they did it, but that was about 8, I would say. Of course, we had shoes when I was little, but every time we'd go to start school, I always had shoes to wear.
What was it like when you got to go to town? Was that a big treat for you?
It was a big treat because on Friday night, they gave you a bath. You took a bath. There was a truck that would go every Saturday morning around 8:30, and we would all go, and I think it cost a little bit for the adult. There wasn't any sense of dressing up because you were riding in a truck to get to town, or your hair, but your hair was all braided tight, so we didn't have to worry about it. When we get there, we'd eat breakfast, and they'd walk up and down the streets. That courthouse was there. Grocery stores, and we get ice cream those days. But it was a fun part. It was all-day thing that we went. Got back to the house about 4 o'clock. What we called didn't know whisk, medicine men, medicine people. I do believe, I do know that they are chosen. Somebody chooses them. Not everybody can do it. And if they do, it will come back on them. It has to be pure, I think.
Yeah.
My belief. And they still use some things in the communities. You have to be in a place where you can use it and rely on it a lot. And that's what they did back then when I was little. The elders are already gone. And we didn't, just like the kids today, we didn't pick up the, I don't know, the knowledge of doing, how to do those things and making garden. They used to make gardens every springtime, the families there. And I truly believe they shared their seeds too, the communities in that area. But they weren't close. The community, the houses weren't close. It was about a mile or so apart. There wasn't a church near us to go to. What we had was what we believed, what our parents believed. And we did not hear prayers at the meal. We didn't pray at the meal, but we just didn't attack everything. We were quiet. That's why we were taught, appreciate what you have and take care of what you have.